Good morning this morning, and welcome to What the Heck is Wrong with Ohio State's quarterback recruiting edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor, everybody, and before we get started, make sure to smash that like button. If at any point during this video something strikes your fancy, make a comment down in the comment section below. Let's make sure that we attack that algorithm this morning for me and for the OHIO podcast. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Ring the bell, get notified, never miss when we go live. We go live currently 3 times a week. Thursday nights, Sunday nights, and Monday nights, all at 8 o'clock. 2 call-in shows, 1 discussion roundtable, and we drop videos and new content on your lap almost every single day here at the OHIO podcast. All right. Ohio State's recruiting in 2026 has been really good. I think they're up to number 3, or at least they were last time I checked in the 247 composite rankings. I don't take a ton of stock in recruiting rankings. The more I have followed recruiting, the more I have delved into recruiting, or dove into recruiting, I should say. Um, the more I disagree with some of the so-called experts, especially when you learn how they're coming up with some of these recruiting rankings, you realize the dirty game that's being played behind the scenes. That being said, I trust my own eyeballs and my 43 years of experience of watching and playing and coaching athletics, and so that being said, uh, we have our own recruiting rankings here at the OHL podcast, and so far that's been going really well. If you would like to know how that works, we highly recommend that you sign up for our monthly membership. It only costs $3.99 a month to become a member of our YouTube channel, and you can get free behind the scenes content where we break down the recruiting for you on a Ohio State level. Now, this particular video is about the quarterback position in 2026. Ohio State currently does not have a quarterback committed in this class. They have 11 commitments. They have 3 wide receivers. They've got 3 offensive linemen. They're going to get a running back here very soon, maybe 2 of them. They've got a tight end, and all of that on the offensive side, but yet no quarterback yet to distribute the football to all that talent or to block for. That being said, they are going to get a quarterback in this class. They are not going to go quarterbackless in a class. That's just not going to happen when Ryan Day is your head coach. That's just not going to happen. They're going to get somebody, but the issue that they're having in the 2026 class, and the issue that a lot of schools are having, even some of the big name schools are having, is it is incredibly difficult to stack consecutive high ranking quarterbacks back to back to back in classes, especially with the transfer portal, because at the end of the day, there's only one quarterback on the field at a time in college football, which means there's only 100 and what is it, 30 schools now? I don't know. 130 some starting quarterback positions in Division 1 college football at a time. And so it's essentially as rare as the head coach in college football position, and even more rare, maybe one could argue, because there's so many more quarterbacks. That being said, Ohio State's having some difficulty landing that quarterback. That's not a secret. A lot of the offers that they have sent out over the past several years for this particular class, those guys have committed and are going to other schools, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. But some of the names that the Ohio State is now offering is a little bit interesting, or considering offering, we should say. Now, you have Tavien St. Clair in the 2025 class. He's on campus already. He's the true freshman. And then you skip 2 years and you look at 2027, and you got Brady Edmunds, one of the, if not the top quarterback in the 2027 class. And so when you have 2 5-star guys, it's, who's going to come in between that? That's going to take a pretty brave soul, right? According to Juck from Juck on Bucks, he says Ohio State was considering offering Jeff, I believe it's Tomalia, Peyton Falzone, and Derek Zamet. And we'll see if those go anywhere. I doubt they will, based off of the research that I have done. But let's go ahead and break down where Ohio State currently sits with the quarterbacks who I have been following and their offer list. Let's start with Um, top 20 5-star quarterback from Folsom, California, Ryder Lions. Let's start with him, shall we? Um, I don't think Ryder is going to be a Buckeye. I don't foresee that happening at all. They're a little bit late to the game here on his offer. It came January 31st of this year. He has three official visits currently scheduled in the month of June, including USC and Oregon on the West Coast, as well as BYU on the 19th. Can Ohio State somehow swoop in, get him to come check out the campus, and maybe jump into this thing late? I doubt it. I would seriously doubt it. And if they were, and he were to commit to Ohio State, this would be one of the greatest recruiting wins for Ohio State, because that would mean back to back to back 5-star quarterbacks. And I don't know that they necessarily are pursuing this guns ablazing full court press, because again, what does that what signal does that send Brady Edmunds, who's coming in 2027? So you kind of have to walk a pretty thin line here. So I don't think Ryder is much of an option. Now, the guy who I really wanted in this class was Bo Bentley. I think his game translates well to college. I think he's going to be an excellent quarterback. I think he ends up being an NFL first round draft pick. He's ranked 95th overall in the composite, so he's a top 100 kid, 4-star, good size, 6'2", 200 pounds, from Salina, Texas. And as you can see there in the graphic, he has narrowed his list down now to three schools: LSU, Georgia, and Oklahoma. And he's got official visits with all three. Ohio State is essentially out of the running for the guy who I wanted in Bo Bentley. Moving on here, let's take a look at Brady. And I looked up how to pronounce his last name, and it's Smeiguel. Brady Smeiguel. He is 6'5", 205 pounds, from Newbury Park, California. He's ranked 74th overall in the composite. He's a top 100 quarterback. He's one of the top players in the state of California. And as far as his list is concerned, he just recently attended the junior day at the University of Washington. He was committed to Florida State, but yet recently decommitted. That got a lot of Ohio State fans pretty excited that he might become a Buckeye. However, his decommitment came right after a South Carolina offer, and then he unofficially visited South Carolina in March 27th, so just recently, and he has an official visit scheduled for Ann Arbor, Michigan on June 6th. Michigan is feeling pretty good that they're going to be able to get Smeiguel to commit to them. He's a big guy, big arm, and someone who Ohio State definitely needs to I think kind of maybe put more stock in here a little bit. I think he's one of those guys. If he's considering Michigan, then there's really no reason why he shouldn't consider Ohio State. And again, a lot of Ohio State fans were like, "Hey, we can get this guy," but it seems like there's really maybe not the interest there on Ohio State's part. I don't know, just feels that way. But here we are with Smeiguel, and that's the update on him currently. All right, moving forward here, let's continue rocking and rolling, and let's talk a little bit about um, uh, Brady Palmer. Now, again, this is someone who I think Ohio State is uh, sitting pretty well with. Now, they were sitting a lot better when Chip Kelly was the offensive coordinator. That was his main contact here at Ohio State until he left. He is a 6'3", 195-pound quarterback from San Diego, California. Ranking's not super high, 816th nationally, 3-star in the 247 composite. He's considered the 52nd best quarterback overall in 247 Sports and 87th best in the state of California. Looking at his timeline, he unofficially visited Utah. That was the last update we had on him. But if you look at who he's Warm on, it's Auburn, Ohio State, TCU, Utah, USC. I think Ohio State is still in the running here for Brady Palmer and someone that you should keep your eye on as a possibility to be the quarterback in the class of 2026. Now, let's talk about a couple guys from the state of Ohio. It has been my desire, if I was able to offer any advice in the situation that we have it, and far be it Ryan Day to listen to anything that I have to say. I'm just a fat guy who loves Ohio State sitting behind a microphone. But you've got two stud quarterbacks. And if you're going to put someone between them who you want to stick out for at least 2 to 3 years to give you depth in the quarterback room, I would suggest looking at someone who wants to be a Buckeye, probably raised to be a Buckeye, and is going to maybe stick it out with you a little bit longer than, say, someone else who comes and wants to be developed for a year and then hits the portal, right? And so that means you need to look at who's the homegrown talent in 2026 in the state of Ohio. And so let's first take a look at the Ashland product in Nathan Burnernhard. He is massive, 6'5", 227 pounds. He's ranked 560th nationally, according to the composite, the 31st highest ranked quarterback in the country, and 23rd highest ranked recruit in the state of Ohio, according to the composite. 247 Sports is a little higher on him than the composite. He's ranked 24th overall at the position, 16th highest ranked recruit in the state of Ohio, according to 247 Sports. Now, here's where things get interesting. He really didn't have too much Power Five offers to look at or to consider until he had Penn State, and it looked like Penn State was somebody he was interested in, but then Penn State went a different direction with their quarterback, so he's cooled on Penn State. Michigan State has jumped in, Indiana has jumped in, so you got a couple regional Big Ten schools, but then Michigan offered him on April 5th, so at the beginning of this month. Michigan offered him. Here's what I think is going on here. I think Michigan is betting Ohio State goes after him. And I think they are trying to not only find a quarterback in their class as well, because they just got the number one overall recruit in the country in 2024, or excuse me, 2025 recruiting class, in what we call Bryce Underwood. And, again, so they're having a little bit difficulty recruiting a quarterback after him as well. But they don't have anybody in the 2027 class like Ohio State does. So it should hypothetically maybe be a little bit easier, but they do have the possible sanctions, cloud of sanctions hovering over Ann Arbor, that is obviously making recruiting difficult for Sharon Moore and company. So this feels very much like Ohio State is being trolled a little bit here by Michigan. They're going to come down to Ohio. They're going to try to take somebody who Ohio State might come in late on. And if it's this guy, then shame on Ohio State for dragging their feet here. This is the guy who I have wanted for months now, knowing that we weren't going to be able to probably hit a home run with a five-star quarterback, given who we have in 2025 and 2027. To me, this was the perfect guy to fill that void, and we just haven't seems to have much momentum there. And if they're waiting to come back around on him, I think they might be disappointed, because I think Michigan's going to come in, put the full court press on him, and try to get him to go from Ashland, Ohio, uh, to Ann Arbor, Michigan. So definitely keep your eye out on that one. And then to circle back around and continue this exact same discussion and recruiting when it comes to Michigan and Ohio State, we have the other quarterback from the state of Ohio worth mentioning, and that's Matt Pataski. 6'2", 190 pounds, from Archbishop Moeller in Cincinnati, Ohio. He's being recruited by Cincinnati. He does have Duke, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Arkansas offers, so he's got some Power Fives. He's ranked 290th overall nationally, and he's the 20th highest ranked quarterback in the 247 composite, 12th in the state of Ohio. So the composite believes that Matt is actually a little better than Nathan Bernhard is. I, I kind of feel a little bit different than they do. I kind of agree with 247 Sports here. I think Bernhardt might be a little better. However, the composite is leaning towards Matt on this one. So, anyways, again, if you want to look at the timeline, back in February, Michigan offered him. Now, Michigan just got the running back who was a freshman this past year from this school as well. So this is becoming a little bit of a Michigan pipeline here, it feels like. Ohio State needs to be aware of that. Uh, we've always recruited Moeller very well. Notre Dame's recruited Moeller, and Michigan has now as well. This is becoming a battleground school and one that Ohio State needs to be aware of. So if Ohio State views him as Ohio State worthy, they need to jump on this one and they need to go about it with some a sense of adversity here. Time to jump on this thing. So that's how I'm looking at those two kids in the state of Ohio. I've got my eyes on them very carefully. Let's see what the Ohio State does there. So if you're keeping track at home, here's where we currently sit with Ohio State. Some of the names who've committed, who Ohio State has offered, these are some of the bigger names. Faison Brandon, who's the number one overall quarterback and recruit in the country, is currently committed to Tennessee. Diabell is going to Texas. Noah Grubbs to Notre Dame. Jonas Williams to USC. Troy Hune to Penn State. Jaden O'Neal to Oklahoma. Will Griffin to Florida. These are all kids who Ohio State offered and was recruiting. And these are all kids who are going to other places. Looking at the six who are still available that we've just talked about, Ryder Lyons, Bo Bentley, Braden Smeiguel. I don't think any of those three are even an option at this point, it feels like. I feel like it's definitely less than 25% we were to get any of those three. Brady Palmer feels like a 50-50 coin flip at this time, still available to us. And then the two Ohio kids, Nathan Bernhard and Matt Pataski. Again, less than 50% because it just seems like Ohio State's not interested at this point. Will they be later on? Possibly. But will it be too late if that's the case? If it was up to me, I would be all over Nathan Bernhard. That would be my choice. But this is a kid who I've liked now since I've watched his film and since I've been following his recruiting here since the end of the season for the last couple months. I think Nathan Bernhard is the one that I would be going after if I was Ryan Day and company. All right, let's give you your verse of the day. Mark 11, chapter 11, verse 24. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire, when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. Our prayer should be that God gives us not the desires of our heart, but that the desires of our heart should be what God would have willed for us. Changes your perspective a little bit on this verse if you have a different perspective in general. All right, guys, that is your quarterback recruiting update for April 19th, 2025. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow live, 8 o'clock Eastern, for our discussion roundtable where our guest will be Skeeter from the Woods Water Mizzou podcast. We'll be talking a little bit about the Ohio State, Mizzou, and the NFL draft, including our annual Ohio State NFL mock draft game. Should be a lot of fun. Don't miss it. 8 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Until next time, go Bucks.